Last fall I did a couple videos about the Cybertruck and trying to figure out what real truck owners thought of it. And I meant to get out and do some other interviews in rural communities this summer, but with the plague going around, that hasn't happened. But recently I was up in North Dakota, and even though we were mostly talking about charging, the topic of the Cybertruck kept coming up. And because North Dakota is big truck country, this was coming up from both passers-by at superchargers and by the Tesla owners themselves. So at one supercharger, a big rancher got out of a big truck with a big cowboy hat and walked over, and you never know in that situation what the reaction's going to be. But I'll let Jason talk about their conversation.
Farmer and rancher from the Dickinson area, he didn't specifically say north, south, east, or west of here, but there's lots of farms and ranches. And he was really interested. He's like very aware. He's like, I don't know much about Tesla, but he's like, that looks like the future. He's like, and he turns around and he points at the parking lot full of vehicles. He's like, these are steam engines. These are steam engines. You know, and we talked a bit more about costs, charging rates, you know, range, all of the questions that people always have. And then he's like, what about solar? If I put solar on my farm, could I get free electricity? And I'm like, yeah, theoretically. He's like, whoa. So he's thinking, he definitely had a desire to know a lot more about energy options, transportation options, and the Cybertruck. Yeah, I brought the model over to him and showed it to him, and he was like, oh, that's a thing. You know, and we talked timelines. He's like, well, when do you think? And I said, well, they talked 2021, and then I'm like, probably 2022. And then I said Austin. I was talking about Austin as a possibility, and his eyes lit up. He's like, that's brilliant, you know. He's like, East Coast, West Coast, center of the country, right near the ocean. And he got it instantaneously about how important that is for a significant segment in the U.S. And then I told him, you know, estimated ranges on the Cybertruck models and starting prices, and he was blown away. He couldn't believe that you could get something like that for estimated $45,000, $50,000. You know, because he's aware. He's aware of what a new truck costs from any of the big automakers. Add on top of that, right, the option that he could be energy independent with solar, and he instantaneously understood total cost of ownership, right? And he understood input costs and net costs. So, but it was a very friendly conversation, and he was certainly curious and was very open to the idea. So that was refreshing. I think North Dakota people in general, we may have a conservative stereotype, and we are on some things, but I think also we understand fuel, we understand costs, input costs. Farmers and ranchers particularly understand input costs. And as it is today and for the foreseeable future, EV, just the efficiency of it, your input costs end up being way less. Oh, and maintenance. I talked to him about maintenance, and he was blown away. He's like, the only thing you've had done is, you know, I said it was like $100 of service, which is, on my vehicle, is just the brake service. He couldn't believe that.
As I'm sure you can tell, Jason's very excited for the Cybertruck.
Oh, Merritt, apparently we're getting the lights off.
Okay, turn this way. There you go.
There they are. There they
Front
are.
and back. Got it.
There we are. EL wire, if anybody's interested.
Now, Roland owns a Model S and his wife owns a Model 3, so very into the Tesla world, but Roland works for the oil and gas industry in North Dakota, and here are some comments he had.
Speaking of ice, I work on the fracking, so I'm a frack guy. So in the oil field, every day I'm gonna go in the shop full of trucks, so I get the heat every day. My coworkers are saying, that's not green, that's your burning coal or whatever. But I love the car, right? It's the future, it's inevitable. Eventually, those people that are saying that one, they're the ones who are gonna first buy it. Yeah, they're gonna eat their words.
Brian's on his second Tesla Model S and is a huge EV advocate. So he talks to all the Tesla owners in North Dakota, people passing through, and a lot of people at the different car shows and displays, high schools. So he's got a pretty good insight of the expectations for the Cybertruck in North Dakota as well.
Especially with the Cybertruck announcement. I mean, it's North Dakota. Out in the parking lot when we did our ribbon cutting, 3 out of 4 vehicles around us were pickups. And then most of the rest were SUVs. So that's big around here. And the Cybertruck completely changed the perception of Tesla for North Dakota. We're out in the western side of North Dakota. We are the southern edge of the Bakken boom for oil. And I've had 15 people from the area tell me they pre-ordered a Cybertruck. That's twice as many Teslas as there have been brought to Dickinson. So it just shows that this expanding the market and hitting all points is working, and it has stopped the idea that this is just some rich person's car that doesn't do anything and it's just a toy to, wow, this new vehicle they're coming out with does the things I've wanted that nothing else can do. And it just changes the perception, and that is going to be so valuable everywhere, but up here especially for Tesla sales. And again, the first one that shows up is going to sell 50 more of them. So being an early owner with the P85 Model S in 2014, this is in the middle of an oil boom. And Western North Dakota, our economy just absolutely exploded on that, with fracking being from here up through Williston and everywhere in between. Kind of the triangle was Dickinson, Williston, Minot. So we're on the southern edge of all of it. And so it was strange to have, with my business being in computer work, to go to all these clients whose business is in oil, and here I'm driving an electric car. So it was strange. Some people, had their comments that they didn't like this and they'd never drive an electric car, which of course changed as soon as the Cybertruck was announced. And then how some of them were very receptive as this was progress, and they understood that. And some of the companies, one actually in particular was not a tiny oil company. One of their lead guys was discussing ordering Cybertrucks for their company to be their company vehicles because they were going to be more suited for their needs. So that was just, crazy sounding.
I want to thank Brian, Roland, and Jason for talking a little Cybertruck with me. And I think it's always valuable to hear other perspectives, hear what they're hearing up there, and see how this thing is going to change the truck landscape. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Happy road tripping. And if you like this, feel free to like and subscribe to see more North Dakota content coming up soon.